Hi, this is Alex with Maple Leaf Coffee Roasters in Roselle. I'm here today to talk about our November Club Coffee, a great coffee from Panama. Check it out. So we've had Panamanian coffees in our club before, and we've actually had a couple on the shelves over the years. Panama coffees are really kind of a treasure of a Central American coffees. You don't see them super often. They do borrow some of the sensibilities from different Central American coffees in terms of the flavor profiles and things like that. We have always enjoyed the kind of rich, smoother, low acidity feel that these coffees bring to the table, and been excited to find some interesting and exotic Panamanian coffees for the club. When we've done them on the normal shelf, we've always done them as medium roasts, and they've worked out pretty well in terms of their sales. They just don't have this like name recognition that some of the other Central American coffees do. So whenever I do see a chance to pull in some Panamanian coffee for our club, I'm always a little bit excited, and I actually got 3 different Panamanian coffees that I'm going to spread throughout the next couple of months. The most exotic ones being a Catawai variety and a natural process. This one this month happens to be a wash process, so I'm trying to kind of ease everyone in the club back into like a normal, more normal coffee than what we featured last month, which was a Robusta coffee, and just give them a kind of a nice palate cleanser, especially after last month's different change of pace. So we have our normal 3 roast variety this month, the light, medium, and dark. Just to talk about the roast profile really briefly, the light roast coffee, as Panamanian coffees do, this is low acidity, very easy to drink, easy on the stomach, and it drinks a little bit bigger than a light roast normally will. If you're a person that normally shies away from light roast because they might be a little bit sharp or a bit too bright, this will probably speak to you a little bit more than usual. We kind of saw a little bit of a brown sugar and a kind of like a nougat flavor almost to some of the coffee. Nice kind of maple syrup, a little bit of citrusy tone to this one as well. One interesting characteristic of this coffee, as the coffee gets roasted, we'll pull the coffee out of the roaster and give it a smell as it's kind of going through the development phases. And this is one of the few coffees that when you do pull it out of the roaster, can have a little bit of like a tropical fruit flavor to it. Not quite like chewing maybe a piece of juicy fruit gum if you've old enough to remember that, but it's not maybe too far away from it. So really a fun light roast coffee that has some variety to it, especially for a wash coffee. Tiny bit of nuttiness, not super strong kind of nutty, not like a Peruvian coffee or something from Papua New Guinea, but you'll find a little bit at the edges as well. And as I said, very easy on the stomach. You're not going to struggle to drink this one. It's definitely not going to be sharp by any means. The medium roast kind of does exactly what you'd expect for a medium roast to do. It turns even a bit heavier than the light. More of a chocolatey, baker's chocolate kind of tone, kind of verging on the edge of a cocoa powder sort of feel, and has still that sort of syrupy flavor to it. It has a bit more of a fruity tinge than the light roast does, which is a little bit surprising. Kind of was unexpected to see the medium roast develop a little bit more of a sweeter, almost that tropical fruit flavor that I was mentioning earlier, and kind of a fun kind of graham cracker tint to it. For those of you who have tried our coffees from El Salvador, or those of you in the club who remember some of the El Salvador coffees we've had before, those are some of the coffees that can produce a sort of brown sugar, graham cracker kind of feel. And this coffee did remind me in a lot of ways on the medium roast side of a coffee from El Salvador, no matter how we would have roasted that coffee before too. So very straight and narrow medium roast. Again, a lot of variety in the flavors here too. Still quite surprising for a wash process to see the kind of complexity that this coffee has. On the dark roast side of things, this is for sure not a strong, heavy, weighty dark roast coffee. So if you're a dark roast drinker that normally likes the really punchy types of dark roast, this is probably not going to be the best coffee this month. But it has that sort of like strong, sweet, roasty tone to it that you conventionally see out of any dark roast coffee that we feature in the club. But it didn't have a dark feel to it. So it drank more like a medium roast in some ways, maybe not as rich of a variety in the taste as a medium roast will, but it has that richer, thicker taste. And that kind of fun vanilla, almost a little cherry tone to it that a dark roast will a lot of times feel like. And I did see some interesting characteristics that were similar to what I would expect out of a Nicaraguan coffee in some ways. A lot of times dark roast Nicaraguan coffees will take on kind of a burnt marshmallow sort of tone to it. And this one did have kind of like a cool pastry, marshmallowy feel without the sort of burnt taste to it. Again, not burnt in a bad way, but just when you roast up like a marshmallow, it can get a little toasty, especially with the kind of skin on the outside when that toasts up. That can have a certain flavor, a certain stickiness to it that this coffee definitely on the dark roast did not have. Very rich coffee flavor too. So this will definitely leave some taste in your mouth, but without being the kind of burn, bitter, super dark, super oppressive kind of dark roast coffee too. So there's really something interesting happening in all three of these coffees this month. I think if you are normally a medium to dark roast drinker and you want to try something a little bit more exotic and interesting without feeling too far away from what you normally expect out of the weight and the feel and the low acidity of a medium or dark roast coffee, the light might be worth a shot this month. If you're a person who normally goes for a light roast, just because you do like the exotic kind of flavors, but you want to try something a bit more outside your normal path, give the medium or the dark roast a shot. But no matter which one you choose, you're going to feel pretty much at home, no matter which way you go. Panamanian coffees are just really lovely, easy drinkers, not challenging at all, but there's still some fun stuff going on in these, so don't think that that's a bad thing about them at all. So I always appreciate it when people show interest in the club. We have a couple people on the waiting list, and if you are interested in joining or signing someone up for the holidays for next year, feel free to get in touch. The club is something that's really fun that we do every month, where we bring in a club members only coffee. The coffee will always have something interesting going on in it, and we'll roast it 3 different ways, send out a bunch of notes, give you a chance to choose which one that you'd like. And if there's extra, you get a chance to grab a extra bag if there's some additional left over at the end of the month. So until next time, I hope to see you back here for another great club coffee video. Take care.